What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook, and this is Blue Giant Media. We're here to help you find, learn, and play the games that you love. Today, we've got Dragon Castle by Lorenzo Silva and published by Horrible Games, a subsidiary of Cool Mini or Not. And we're going to go ahead and give a quick rules overview of the game so you can get a feel for it, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to give you what I do like, what I don't like, who may like, and who may not like Dragon Castle. Here we have Dragon Castle set up for 2 players. Each player has their own player board, starts with 1 shrine tile or roof tile on their board in reserve. There are multiple setups for the game. You could do this is for 2 players. For 3 players, it recommends here 1 floor high, 2 floors high, 3 floors high, so that it tells you exactly how to set up the board based off of the number of players. And then there are a whole bunch of different ways that you can set the board up, just like you would in your computer or phone-based Mahjong game. Each player has a reference card which shows the different turn options or actions that you can take on your turn on one side, and the different ways that you can score points on the other side. Whoever has seen a dragon most recently, whether it's in a movie or Komodo dragon or whatever it says in the rulebook, is going to be the first player. You can choose whatever method you want. There are dragon cards here and spirit cards here. There are 10 of each. They are optional. It recommends not playing with them for your first game or 2, but then stepping into the ones with the lanterns in the corner for your first couple times using them, and then doing them randomly after that. The dragons give different ways to score points at the end of the game. So this one says that you're going to score bonus points for tiles that have shrines on them at the edge of your board. You'll score some bonus points. This one right here lets you change, whenever you activate any kind of a spirit, you have to discard a face-up tile from your board here, or discard a shrine/roof tile from your reserve in order to take a bonus, or not bonus, but a different action or additional action, or to break a rule. This particular one says when you're taking 2 identical tiles, which normally they must be completely identical, not just in color or symbol, but also in number. This allows you to break that rule so that you are, instead of being required to have 3 yellow circles for both, you can take 3 yellow circles and 2 yellow circles, which you would not normally be able to do. In your phone or computer game, you can do that, but you cannot here unless you do this action by discarding a face-up tile or a reserved shrine tile. So, the 3 actions you can take. I mentioned that one is taking 2 identical tiles. However, I did not mention that the first tile that you take must be from the top floor. Once the 3rd floor is all gone, then it must be from the new top floor, which will be the 2nd floor. Once that is gone, then there is only the bottom floor. Any tile that you take for any of the actions, however, must also have an exposed long edge. You cannot take them from here, for instance, where there is only an exposed short side. You must take the tiles that have an exposed long edge. So you could take 2 identical tiles and place them on your board. However you want, anywhere you want in the grids. Since this is going to give points for end game, maybe you want to put them on the side of the board. The other actions you can take is to just take 1 tile and discard it and get 1 point. Now the reason you might want to do that is, so let's say you're near the end of the game and you want to deny, maybe you want to deny an opponent a tile. Maybe you want to deny your opponent a tile. Maybe you want to take a tile and get rid of it because you're near the end of the game and you just want to get a quick point, but you don't necessarily want to grab one of these tiles here. Maybe it's just to get you to the next floor so you have more options. There's not too many reasons that you're going to want to take that action. It's relatively rare, but that is one of your available actions. The one that you'll probably take more often is to just take 1 tile, So here you could take 2 of the same tiles, but you could just take 1 tile, add it wherever you wanted, and get another roof/shrine tile. So that's another thing that you might want to do, and will do likely very often, because these shrines are going to be one of your major sources of points. Another way that you're going to score points is by grouping together tiles that are the same color. So let's say on this player's turn they did this, foolishly unveiling this 2 and this 2, yellow, and you place them here. So anytime you make 4 tiles that are the same color, so once they're over here, the number doesn't matter, just the color. Also the symbols on these black and blue tiles, as long as it's the same color, and you have 4 or more touching, not diagonal, but touching, then you turn all of them over. And you're going to score more points based off of having more of them turned over at one time. You will score 2 points for turning over 4 tiles, 3 points for turning over 5 tiles, 5 points for turning over 6, 6 for turning over 7, 8 points for turning over 8, an additional point for any more that you turn over in one single action. Then, based off of the color of the tile, you have the ability to place 1 or 2 shrines. So you can place 1 since this was yellow, and since it was a group of 4, you would score 2 points. If they were green, yellow, or red, you turn over, or you get to place 1 tile, and they must be placed on the tiles that you just flipped over. They can only be placed on tiles that have been flipped over. If it was a black or blue tile, you have the ability to place 2 shrines, but they must be in your reserve. You can't take 1 here and say, oh, I'm going to grab another one. That's why you're going to want to discard 1, or not discard, but take 1 and get an additional shrine, so they have the ability to place more of those. If you have purple, or the dragons, you will get to place 2 shrine tiles if you have them, and take an additional bonus point. So those are the 3 actions that you can normally take during the game. Once all of the tiles from the second and third floors have been removed, so that just the bottom floor is showing, then you have a 4th option available, which is to take a dragon tile. If you take a dragon tile, that is your turn. It is worth 2 points at the end of the game. However, once the exclamation point is revealed, and as you can see, it's kind of set here for 2, 3, or 4 players, you're going to have more of these available. But once the exclamation point is revealed, that means we are in the final round. So if the first player took that, it would go around so that everybody had the same number of turns. If this player, for instance, took that one, then all players have had the same number of turns. So they just took the last turn and ended the game. At the end of the game, things that you can score extra points for, when you have, well, there's your dragons, which are going to do a whole bunch of different things. But normally, you're going to score points for the shrines that you've placed. For every tile beneath them, up to a maximum of 3, which you can go higher, but you're only going to score up to 3 bonus points. You will score a point for each tile underneath each shrine, scoring 1, 2, or 3. Even if it's 4 or 5 tiles high with the shrine on top, that'll be 3 points. But 1, 2, or 3 bonus points. So you'll total up your points from the tokens, points from any dragon tiles, points from your shrines, and whoever has the most points is the winner. But there's a lot of variability in scoring with the 10 different dragons, and variability in possible actions and things that you can do to break the rules of the game by having the 10 different spirit cards. Now that you've got a pretty good idea of how Dragon Castle plays, I want to let you know what I do like about the game. The components are the first thing that just jumps out. The artwork is great. Those little chunky plastic bits, all the components are phenomenal. The only thing that I can possibly say negative about the components is that the player boards are thin, and that it does have a few cardboard pieces. But, I mean, what game doesn't have cardboard pieces? Are we really going to knock a game for having cardboard pieces? Most games have them. It's just that this has predominantly non-cardboard pieces so that they stand out as less than, which is saying something positive about the game, not negative in my opinion. So component quality and artwork is stellar. Second, I love the kind of zen-like quality of the game. It's very accessible. This is kind of a hallmark of horrible games, is they are accessible, but still deep. It is very easy to get a hang of the rules. There are only a couple things that you can choose from on your turn. Very limited choices, but how you implement those choices is everything. You can be so deep in how you think about, okay, well, I need to get some of this color and I'm going to set the foundation, but my ultimate goal is to set it up higher so that I can connect this blob to this blob and then try and get them up, but then I'm going to have to take this one so that I can put the... You're looking at colors, you're looking at the... It's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I love that. I've heard the term simplexity, something that's simple but complex at the same time, and to me this fits that simple rule set, but it's complex in how it's implemented and how deep you want to get into it. So I love those games that are accessible, especially because I move around a lot. I'm in the military, so actually getting a game group together can be difficult because every couple of years I move to a new place and I've got to sometimes, most of the time, indoctrinate a whole new group of people. So trying to find people who are ready to jump right into a deep game like a Gloomhaven or something like that, it's exceedingly rare. This is a game that I can pull out with somebody who's never played a game before, and they're like, oh, it's like Mahjong, it's pretty, cool. And then I give them, okay, you only got these choices to choose from. They're not overwhelmed by the game. They can get in there and they can play it. After the first time they play it, they go, oh, I could have done this. So they can immediately see some of the strategy. And it's up to them how far they want to go with it. And I love that. It's great for that. So other things that I like about the game, it's relatively quick. That's another plus for me. I have 2 little girls. Sometimes having enough time to actually play a game can be difficult. Setting aside the time to play through a Gloomhaven, I can't come back to that, or maybe a Star Trek Frontiers, or Star Wars Imperial Assault, or one of these big games, Caverna, it can be very difficult. But a game like this, where at tops, with like 4 players, you're going to get an hour-long game, that's not too hard to be like, okay, if the kids need something, you can deal with them for a few minutes, and you're only going to get interrupted once or twice in a game. Or maybe you're going to get through a whole game, no problem. So the play length is a plus for me. Things that I don't like about the game, there's not really anything that's glaring. The only thing that I can say is, for some reason, I typically am going to choose games over it. But that's not a knock on the game per se. I mean, it's a great game. I still love to get it out. There's just, right now, it's not one that like grabs you and goes like, oh my gosh, this is a game I gotta play right now. It's just a good, solid game, and it's a lot of fun. Every time you get it out, you're just like, man, I need to play this game again. So, take that. Things that you may like. People who may like this game. People like those relaxing games. You can just sit around, have a conversation while you're playing. You know, you don't need to be sitting there brain burn, like trying to strategize every little thing. You can dig into it, but you can have a conversation while you play. It's very simple, very relaxing, very social, which is, to me, it's one of the great things about board gaming in general, is that social aspect, a chance to connect with each other. So I think people who like that aspect are going to like this game. People who have an affinity for Mahjong, it's just immediately going to be like, oh, I've seen something like this. And from what I understand, I don't know, like, the original Mahjong. From what I understand, the game that we typically see, like, on your phone these days, or back when I was younger, on your computer screen for Mahjong, isn't the original game of Mahjong. But from what I understand, you can actually play both of those things. You've got a full Mahjong set in there. So that's pretty cool if you actually like Mahjong. People who may not like this game, it's just not a deep game. It's not a heavy, crunchy, centerpiece type game. It's just a solid, fun, quick, light, but meaty enough game. If I were to compare it to food, this isn't like a sirloin steak. This is like a sirloin burger. This is good quality stuff. It's not going to be, fast food, but it's not like, all right, I've been saving up for this. This is what I've been anticipating. It's just, man, that was good. I liked that. And if you're looking for something that's going to be the new wow game, this isn't it. It's just not. Don't get your hopes that high up. It's just a solid, good game. Highly recommended. Definitely great with little kids up through your grandparents. Very accessible. Love the game. Definitely recommend Dragon Castle. so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to know more about Dragon Castle, you can look for a link in the description section for my playthrough or rules overview of the game. You can also find a link to macronovagames.com where you can buy Dragon Castle and many other great games. If you got any comments, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to connect with you and get a feel for what you think about this game or what you think I should do next. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and have a wonderful day.